And it is official. Yabra Kamia Bashamashagal Shah, Shibala Krazaya Banya Shah, also known as Isaiah Yashad Allah. Tell me what you want. Just don't call me a person to teach you to not do it. So we're gonna get to you real quick. Let's get through this week's Torah portion. We have a short amount of time on my end, but prayerfully we'll be able to go to another location. All right. And this is what we have. You know how heartbreaking this is. You know how long I had this on, boy. This is my studio laptop, man. This is mine. But we find out in the end, it's just stuff. So my feelings is hurt, you know what I'm saying? So it happened. It's finally official. Hey, if you watch it, make sure you share this out. Hey, that makes you want to cringe, don't it? Oh, cuero mucho. So yeah. So Shalom Lakar Shabbat Shalom. Put a 7 in the room if you can hear me. I don't know if this has sound. I'm also on a conference call that I'm waiting for people to call into. They haven't called yet. So if you can hear me okay, put a 7 in the room. Follow Kushab, please. All right. And I'll be able to see your 7. All right. And then we're also going to let the friends and family know that it's official. We have started. So our class is going up. Now I'm going to bring forward this screen share so we can see this week's Torah portion. All right, so let's do a screen share, share screen. I'm gonna pull up this screen right here. All right, and I'm gonna share audio. Not only from there, I want to go backward because I want to show y'all something. You have a specific, very beautiful school called the Light of Zion. Now, if you can see this, I want you to be aware of this. All right. The Light of Zion is a Yashar Alim school that's located in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. All right. And the Light of Zion they do an excellent job at teaching not only the Torah, but the Torah portion, the gospel, the prophecies. All right. So what we like to do in our specific community is we like to share and encourage one another. The Light of Zion has been operating regularly. I can't even. I don't know their exact years. All right, but I know that I've had the blessing of building with the elders, listening to the elders, of watching them communicate. And teach over time. So to see that they're keeping this system of teaching Exodus chapter 25 through chapter 27, which is the same thing that we'll be doing today. This is not something that we made up. This is something that Mashah, that we've seen in the Torah. Moses stood and read the law, Laha Yaladim Yasharala, to the children of Israel. All right. And in the midst of that, guess what? There was a great mixed multitude that was right there with Yasharala that was hearing all of the readings be done. All right. So we're not supposed to object anyone who wants to come hear the law, statutes, commandments, and the judgments of Yahweh. So if anybody's telling you that this word is for Israel only, you know what I'm saying? Some things are for Yasharim only, just like some things are for Goyim only. Just like, everything isn't for everybody. So that's true. But when it comes to learning the Most High's judgments, His laws, statutes, commandments, His mercies, His wrath, that's for everybody. All right, so we're gonna be just teachers. All right, we're gonna share the screen instead up here. That's our brother Kevin Yazzie. That's the big homie, man. He be putting down Gadite sounds. All right, put a 7 in the room if you can hear me okay. All right, let me know that we all good. So we got till 1:30 in this location. All right, I am at the Cincinnati Public Library, which I want to come back here tomorrow because I just found out that you can do all kind of cool stuff here. You know what I'm saying? But it's the Shabbat, so I won't be doing that. All right, let's get this real quick. Exodus chapter 25, KJV, Blue Letter Bible. This week's Torah portion, we're going to be doing Exodus chapter 25. I like people to know things. I like people to know what I know and also to know how to get the information. So with that being said, here's the website that we will be using for this week's Torah portion. What? Don't let that derail you, because some might say, oh, you're using the website. Yeah, we're using the website. You know why? Because the website documented from books. And a lot of people get on call. Get on the call. I'm tired of hearing this music, but we gotta leave the line open for the people. All right, let them know it's open. And if they do, if they don't, that's on them. But what they won't be able to say is that the teachers didn't teach. Now look at this. This is a very old Sapar. This is a book that I got from my supply a while back. Saying faded print on all that good stuff. Let me show you. Inside of this, you have standard annual TORAH. Standard annual TORAH reading schedule, exhaustive study, instruction, and practice, responsibility of individual, family, community, and nature. So even though you see it on the website, right? Even though we share it with you per by website, this doesn't mean that this website is who invented the Torah portion teaching. The Torah portion was invented by the Most High, given down to Moses, given down to Ezra, given down to the early church fathers. All right. So it's imperative as a nation that we get back to it and learn it. Now we're going to get to this real quick. If anybody would like to, you can be a part of this. All right. So this week's Torah portion. All right. I'm going to start with Genesis chapter 25. Genesis chapter 25, flipping amazing. Jacob and Esau. So many beautiful takeaways in this chapter, in this week's Torah portion. But let me start with my Kodash Sapar. All right, let me get there first. All right, and for those of you that's on the class, for those of you that are on the class and the official class, you all should have already studied this. All right, and presented it to others. All right. So let's start with the book of Barashia. And we're gonna need so much more time. If you can, have your Pentateuch with you. All right. Barashia Genesis chapter 25. All right, starting in verse Chad, verse 1. I'm in Exodus. I'm going, oh, why? I'm in Exodus 25. I'm looking, I'm like, they don't say the same thing. Hold on, my bad. So Genesis 25, I'm in the book of Exodus. All right. All right. Let's get that, get it started. There we go. Genesis chapter 25, verse of Chad. There we go. All right. Genesis chapter 25, verse of Chad. All right. I pray that Yahweh brings understanding to the words of the people. All right. So that we have mercy, his grace, and his favor, and that his word go throughout the four corners of the earth. All right, Ba'ashem Hamashiach Yahushai, please allow our God, our Chachma, the rest of us, and all those who hear the word. Ba'ashem Hamashiach Yahushai, Kawara Tanyad. Amen. All right, so all the Elijah should be Shemayim. All right, all the children should be sitting and listening. I know it's hard. All right, but you can do it. Okay. So all the children should be sitting and listening. All right, so let's get to it. All right. All right, let's go ahead and get to it. So, all right, that was our brief intermission. So prayerfully, everybody should have their stuff up and ready. We're going to get to Genesis chapter 25. All right, so for those of you who know, Genesis is also known as Barashiyah. All right. Some people say better sheets or better sheets. All right. But it really just breaks down into two sounds or two words, which is ba, which is in, and then rash, yath, all right, in beginnings, all right, or in the heads, right? So that's really what Genesis means, in the head or in the forefront, in the beginning, in the start, okay? And here's what's beautiful when it comes to Bada Ashiat or in the beginning. What you actually have is you have all of the early forefathers, all of the early church fathers, what they did was they would break down what was the in the beginning, what happened in the beginning, what was the consistency of in the beginning, and everybody's story stayed the same. Put a 7 in the room if you can hear me okay, Baba Kusha. If I could be heard, put a 7 in the room. All right. Before we go forward, also just to let you know, we have the conference call up right now. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. 522-5823. I'm gonna push pound. And when you get on a conference call, if you want to 522-5823 is the conference call number. So all praise Shalom Yahweh Shemalakah. So the 7 is so very helpful. So we're gonna get started with learning this week's TORAH, which this week's Torah portion. Okay. All right. So, Shalom, Yahweh Shemalathon, Yabrakam, Yahweh Shemashak, Yahweh Shai. All right. And Yahweh come, Shalom Ban, Shalom Banyam, Shalom Yashar, Shalom Yeremiah. All right. I wish I could get on here, man. Y'all could talk to me on here. Y'all can show me, y'all can show me what y'all know. Okay. All right. So, hey, I'm going to do something real quick. Kanaya, can you let me know if you can hear any music in the background? Put a 7 in the room. Put a 7 in the room if you can hear music. Put a 3 in the room if you can't at all. Like if there's no sound, put a 3. All right. So put a 7 in the room if you can hear music. Put a 3 in the room if you can't. All right. We're on live on YouTube, and I appreciate everybody. If you choose to call in, if you don't want to watch on YouTube right now, you can also call in. All right. We have a conference call number up. A lot of families are resting. It's a chill Shabbat. All right. But at least we can call in, hear, or visually see the Torah portion class. All right. So with that being said, Shabbat Shalom to everybody. We're getting this video started now. Okay. The conference number is up. Okay. So with that being said, you want to be able to visually see or hear the Torah. What do you know about this week's Torah portion? Have you went over it? This week's Torah portion to me is one of my favorites, and I'll tell you why. It has my favorite colors in it. This week's Torah portion has my favorite colors in it. And that's what really blows my mind. This week's Torah portion is about everybody coming together, everybody working together. It's about the sons of Esau and Jacob and the whole family thing. You can't make this stuff up. All right, it's beautiful. So let's get started right here. All right, so we're in Bada Ashiach. All right, you should be able to see my screen. Okay, I'm going to bring me up on it also. So you'll be able to see my big head. Shalom, Mashbakar, Shalom, family. Shalom, they both yell Shalom. Okay, so TORAH, thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to do this real quick. And I'm going to put, now, if you can hear the music, and if it sounds at a good level, put a 7 in the room. If you can't hear it, it sounds at a bad level, put a 3 in the room for me. Real quick. I need a quick response. Real quick, Bible shot. And the reason being is because I can't hear from my end. My laptop's broke. I broke my laptop on the way here, man. My screen's destroyed. So, I'm using the computer lab, the library computer. And it doesn't have any sound. You know what I'm saying? But I'm grateful to be able to broadcast live. So put a 3 in the room or put a 7 in the room real quick if you can hear me. And if you can hear the music, there should be music in the background. All right. If you can hear me, okay, 3. No music in the background. Okay. Okay. Okay, that's fine. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and shut that off then. All right. And I'm on this conference call, but I don't think anybody's calling in. So I'm not gonna waste my time with this. All right. And I apologize. All right. I should leave it up though, because I said so. All right, let's get to it. All right, so this week's Torah portion reading. All right, screen share. Let's learn Mashmacha. Okay, let's learn as a family. Okay. You're right. 7 to hearing me, 3 to hearing the music. Yeah, they've got some type of option on the laptop to where you can't hear the music. Maybe I have headphones in, but it's a library laptop, so I'm trying to probably preserve people playing respectful music and stuff like that. Right? So let's go ahead and get to it. Okay, start our screen share, and I'm very very surprised. I'm very very surprised the way that this day started, man. It's crazy. And I stood outside for a long time. And I talked to this Hebrew Edomite, and we had a great conversation. I just wish I could have recorded more of it online. We had a great time. Okay, so let's get to it. All right, so we are screen sharing, and you should be able to share the screen. All right, see the screen? Okay. So you said, yeah, to hear me. I feel you. Yeah. Okay. All right, gotcha. Okay, so let's get to it. Genesis chapter 25, verse 1. Let me see if I can exit out of this. Again, Abram took a wife. I like where this is going right from the beginning. Right. All right, so again, Abram took a wife. Again, I like where this is going right off the bat. Again, Abram took a wife, and her name was Keturah, and she bare him Zimran and Jokshan and Medan and Midian and Ishbak and Shua. Something very interesting to know about this is Abraham's wife was not an Israelite. She was a Gentile. Just like Abraham was not an Israelite. Abraham would have been considered a Goyim Gentile from the Israelite bloodline because the Israelites didn't live yet. But he's the father of the Israelite bloodline. So therefore, he wouldn't have. So totally Shemitic. I don't know who Keturah's. Now, well, we got some speculation here, but I don't want to get into that. All right, so let's finish reading. So Genesis chapter 21, verse Chud. And again, Abraham, took a wife, and her name was Keturah, and she bare him Zimran and Jokshan and Medan and Midian and Ishbak and Shua and Jokshan, excuse me, this is a new laptop to me, and Jokshan begot Sheba and Dedan. And the sons of Dedan were Asherim and Lechuim and Luim. Now, what you can do for yourself, I can't do it for you right now, but I encourage you to do it. Come back to this and don't just be like, what was that sound? What was that word? Come back to this because all of these names are written here for your edification. Come back to this and look to these different places where these different names are in the Bible, and you can find out the different people, like Balaam. All right, Balaam. All right, being a part of the sons of Midian. Right. All right. So you can trace people in the Bible about who the fathers are. All right. So let's go back to it. Genesis chapter 25, verse 4. And the sons of Midian, Ephah and Epher and Hanach and Abdiah and Eldaah, and these were the children of Keturah. And Abraham gave all that he had unto who? Unto Yatzak. He gave all that he had unto Isaac. Now, can you imagine being, first of all, I don't want anybody to think that Isaac was an only child. He wasn't. He was an only child pertaining to the sense of he was the only child of the promise. He was the favored and the favorable child. He even had a bigger brother named Ishmael. So yes, Abraham is the father of Isaac, but he's also the father of many other children. Haven't you heard the song, Father Abraham had many sons, and many sons had Father Abraham. I am one of them, and so are you. Shabbat Shalom to who just came in the conference call. Shabbat Shalom. All right, so it's me and you, so we rocking out. Hallelujah. Shalom. All right. Shabbat Shalom. All praise. So I apologize. While we're on live, and can you hear me good on a headphone set? Excellent. So I have the conference call in on the headphone set, and we're also speaking on the video on my YouTube. So with that being said, if you're watching and if you would prefer to listen, you could always call in. I want to give a sincere apology. My laptop broke on the way here. Both of my phones was dead or but went to sleep. I had to get a new charger. I was talking to a gent. A whole bunch of stuff happened, but here we are. So we have this room here currently until 1:30, and then after that, we get moved to another location. So the show just doesn't stop, and they reserved it for me for a specific amount of time for us. So if you're on a conference call, I encourage you, if you know people that want to listen, have them call in. My phone's sitting on the charger. We're in a quiet, confined place. I think we'll be able to get this, not just done, but have fun. So Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Sister Maria. Uh, Come about the water car. So I don't wanna change anything. Do you think that you or any Aquatian or you yourself are quiet alone? You think you'd be able to do anything, or should we wait for another day? Cool. All right. So with that being said, I'm gonna go through like we do Genesis chapter 25, and then we'll finish off everybody that's watching on live. We're gonna finish off with me saying Kala Shara, Debar Yahweh, Na'isha, or Nashemai. And then we're gonna yield the floor over to one of our sister ministers to where she does what she does. She breaks the scriptures down to all of you other women and children and bless us in her own ministry way. And then we'll get back to the next part of the Torah portion reading which will be Genesis chapter 26. All right, so the water for that, Sister Mara. You put a huge smile on my face. The water, great. Appreciate it. All right, so let's get back to it. Blue Letter Bible on our website. We're on YouTube. And again, if anybody, for those of you guys watching on YouTube, you can send this conference call number out. All right. If you're, for those that's on, put the conference call phone number here so I can put it on the screen. All right. So Genesis chapter 25, verse 3. Again, seeing Abraham was the father of Isaac. But keep in mind, Abraham was sincerely the wife of Sarah. The husband of Sarah. He was sincerely the husband of Sarah. And he was sincerely the husband of Keturah. All right. Our Abba Abraham, our father Abraham, was a loving husband and he was a loving father. And he was acceptant to everyone who came through and who needed anything. You have to learn more about Abraham, his spirit, his personality, his character, is who we should strive to be like. And if you find out that your doctrine is contradictory to how Abraham behaved, then that's a good G check right there. All right. If your behavior is contradictory, not to say that Abraham didn't have issues or Sarah didn't have issues, because they're human, right? But if we can go back and gauge ourselves, and I say, okay, how would Abraham specifically, in this case, be towards the other nations? Well, our father Abraham, he wasn't against the other nations. He was against those who did wickedly against his father, his friend, the Most High. So, getting back to this is Genesis chapter 25, verse 4. All right. Genesis chapter 25, verse 4. And the sons of Midian, Ephah and Ephah and Hanach and Abdiah. I think I said it wrong. Abidah, and Eldaah. All these were the children of Keturah. And Abraham gave all that he had unto Isaac, is the one point. From Genesis chapter 25, verse 1 to verse 4, it says lineage of his children. But then when you get to verse 5 specifically, verse 5 is one of the shortest verses in the Bible, just like "and Jesus wept." Here go another one of those short verses. Genesis 25, verse 5. And Abraham gave everything he had unto Isaac. Because even with all of those numeration of children, and when you read Flavius Josephus, which I hope that you get a chance to go through today, when you read Flavius Josephus' account, everyone should have there. If you are ever traveling, don't you ever leave your books anywhere. You always bring your books with you. Bring your Bible, you bring your favorite books, you bring your top 5 favorites to study or to learn out of. And then you bring all of your toys and your accessories. And Flavius Josephus, Antiquity of the Jews, in that chapter about uh, the birth of Esau and Jacob, we find so much beautiful details. But we're going to stick to the Torah right now. The point is to say that even with all these children, you have one pill crow. The pill crow, the punctuation mark, that means this verse is over with. And Abraham gave all that he had unto Isaac. And the sons, but unto the sons of the concubines, which Abraham had. I know somebody's antennas just went up on that. All right. Uh, I want to make this clear. Whenever we're talking about concubines, there's been a gross misconception of concubines. All right. But let's finish this verse and we'll talk about it. But to the sons of the concubines, which Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts and sent them away from Isaac his son, while he yet lived eastward unto the east country. That verse is a hard pill to swallow for a lot of women and for a lot of men also, in our relationship with our children. One, there's a few things in here. All right. Abraham was a father of many. He's a father of many. Right? I am one of them and so are you. So let's just praise the Lord. Right hand. Abraham had a favorite son. That was the promised son, though. So these other sons weren't not loved, we'll say. They weren't not supplied for, taken care of. They weren't not endued with riches. Remember, Abraham was done rich. So we have the relationship of the father and the son of the promise and the other children that were there. They're acknowledged. But then you also have this very peculiar word right here, which is concubine. I only want to do a very brief of this word concubine because there are Israelite women who are choosing to be concubines. And I used to be really so staunch against it. I used to be like, no, I have nothing. I see there's a movement and I'm learning. The scripture says right here, but unto the sons of the concubines. Now we have Paya Lagash. Paya Lagash. Paya Lagash. Paya Lagash. Maybe you don't have to say, that's my husband. You can say, no, I'm his Paya Lagash. They won't know what you're talking about, sisters. They don't read. Maybe you can have to say, I'm his wife. You can say, I'm his paramour. I'm his. There's only two words. The two words that I hear for palayagash or palagash. All right. You have a paramour and you have a concubine. All right. We can play with that word a little bit later. Some people don't think that concubines have an honorable position, but they do. All right. I encourage you, if you're an Israelite, if you're even investigating any parts that have to do with marriage, please take it from me. I have a lot of experience in marriage in Israel. Not all of it was bad. A lot of it was good. Only the parts that was bad were the parts that people highlight. But the blessed, beautiful parts, oh man, those are through eternity. And one of the things I want to tell people is when you're investigating marriage, one, of course, take your time. Salute to those brothers and sisters who do, right? From a person who does not all the time. One, take your time. And then two, learn what your office, what your position is, what your role is. If you're an Adawan, if you're a husband, you have to know that you're not going to always be the husband that somebody expects you to be, but you have to be the best husband you can. If you're a rib, you might not be the most, whatever rib a person expects you to be, but be what you can. If you need help with these principles, you can learn them from Clementine Homilies. All right, book 2, I believe, chapter 13 on chastity. Okay, so we have Palayagash, all right, concubine. The etymology is obscure, but the origin may be sought into the appearance of truth and the idea of softness and pleasure. And I truly believe that that's what a concubine is, a Palayagash. It's softness. Even the pronunciation is soft. You know what I'm saying? I think we look at things from a Western lens a lot of times, and even us being Yashar, we might think that the word concubine is a bad thing, but it's not. You might think that the word wife is a good thing all the time, but the root word etymology of the word wife is not always a good thing. All right, so Abraham wasn't a man that was in error because he loved his concubines, right? Or he took care of his children for his concubines. What type of man would not have children with the soft ones that he's laying with? So please reconsider the terminology of this. Let's do one more thing with this word concubine because I think it's a fun one, but we have a lot to read, a lot of reading to do, short amount of time frame, and we have a blessed sister that's on here that I want to hear how she ministers to the women too. All right. So, and for those who say women aren't supposed to be ministers and teachers, man, we got scriptures to cut that all day. Let her keep silent. Yeah, absolutely. In the right perspective, the right time frame. But then there's a time for women to teach, and the Most High even says He calls unto you women. So if you didn't know that, we can help you with that too. Okay. So look at this real quick. Let's get this. We are on Payalagash. Okay. And I want y'all to see this. We're going to go to the book of Judges. Uh, Judges chapter 19. All right. Judges chapter 19. Look at this. Judges chapter 19, verse 1. And it came to pass in those days when there was no king in Yasharallah, right? So we didn't have a king ruling over us. There was a certain Levite. If you don't know about Levi is not supposed to deal with every and any woman. Okay. There was a certain Levite sojourning on the side of Mount Ephraim who took to him a what? A concubine out of Bethlehem, Yehoiada, which means Beth, the house of Judah. So she was a soft one. She was his woman, his maiden, and she was from the house of Judah. All right. So the context of concubine needs to be reevaluated. Everybody, we have to be careful too, because you have some that'll try to slander our father Abraham, my father Abraham, because they'll use this verse and say, well, Abraham had concubines. Well, you can't slander him because of that. You just have to know what the correct terminology is. All right. And how was that sense? All right. So let's get back to this. So Genesis chapter 25, and we're going to go to verse 6 and verse 7. Genesis chapter 25, verse 6. But unto the sons of the concubines, which Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts and sent them away from Isaac his son, while yet he lived eastward unto the east country. And in those days, and these are the days of the years of Abraham's life, which he lived 160, or 15 years, right? So let's do this real quick. So we have 100. And for those who don't know what a score is, all right, one score is 20, okay? So one score is 20. Now that's very important to know how to count, because you'll see multiple times 3 score in the Bible. So what are 3 scores? As everybody will know, right? 2, 4, 6. Every one score is 20. So 2, 4, 6, right? So that's 100, right? 3 score and 15 years. And Abraham gave up the ghost and died in a good old age in the land. Good old age, an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people. And his sons, Isaac and Ishmael, buried him in the cave of Machpelah in the field of Ephron, the son of Zohar the Hittite, which is before Mamre. Verse 10. The field which Abraham purchased of the sons of Heth, there was Abraham buried, and Sarah his wife. And it came to pass, after the death of Abraham, Allah, Elohim, Allahayim, Allahayakah, that God blessed his son Isaac. And Isaac dwelt in the land of Lahoror. And these are the generations of Ishmael, Abraham's son, whom Hagar the Egyptian, Sarah the handmaid, bare unto Abraham. Now, pause. So let's go back from verse 1 down to verse 4. We have the generations of Abraham and his Gentile children from his handmaids, his concubines. Then we get into a short stint of the life of Abraham, where Abraham was buried, where his wife, our grandmother, Sarah, is buried, which we can still find was purchased in the land of Heth, the Hamite, the Canaanite, the African. Those ones that are kind of like us, but not us. that just dark skin, don't really deal with us. Same ones who we built their pyramids under oppression. So our father Abraham, he knew not to deal with them. He only did business with them. And when they tried to give him something, he said, "Nah, I'm not taking that, because then you'll say that you did it for me instead of the Most High doing it for me. Nah, no deal. I don't want that plot that you're trying to give me for burial. Yeah, I know you're trying to give it to me, but as soon as you do give it to me, you'll say, I gave Abraham this burial ground. And because of me and us, the children of Israel are buried here, and we can dig their bodies up because we own it. No, 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 no. No deal, no deal. How about I pay you for it?" These are the generations of Ishmael, the son of Abram. So when we get down to verse 12, we see from the lineage, the death of our father Abram, his rib, Shaddai, our mother. And then you see a location to where you can still look up to this day, because the land of Machpelah hasn't went anywhere. So these are properties and possessions that we still own to this day, because our purchased them, just like our father Yahweh Joseph purchased the land in Egypt. Maybe you forgot about that. So this land still belongs to the Eladim Yasharallah. You got to read. It's beautiful. And I encourage people, play with the book of Joshua. After you go through the Bible, go to the book of Joshua. Study Josephus first. Bible, Josephus. Go to the book of Joshua, you'll find out a lot of beautiful information. It's very questionable. It's very interesting. But some stuff is like, wow, that does really solidify some things for me. Genesis chapter 25, verse 13. And these are the names of the sons of Ishmael. Now remember today, Ishmael is the father of the Arabs. The Arab nation, shalom alaikum, wa alaikum shalom, alhamdulillah, inshallah, peace be upon the prophet. Yeah, come. The same ones who write cursive Arabic, that's just Paleo Hebrew. Cursive Arabic ain't nothing but cursive Paleo Hebrew without the vowel points. When they say shalom alaikum, and they run it together and say it with an accent, they're just saying shalom lakam. We say shalom lakam, peace to y'all. Ishmael's pronunciation, shalom walaikum. You know why? Because Ishmael is the son of Abraham, the Hebrew. So Ishmael and the Arabs and a lot of them, especially Negroes that go over to the Ishmaelite, customs, and they be trying to be like them and dyeing their beard red and looking all weird. And all they got to do is just stay who they are, how they are, because you already look like Abraham. I don't need to look like Prophet Muhammad. I don't need to look like Prophet. No, I need to look like myself, because I look like my father. And my father looked like his father like his father, all the way up to Abram. So Ishmael and his generations, all right, now let's read Genesis chapter 25, verse 12. Now these are the generations of Ishmael, Abraham's son, whom Hagar, the Egyptian, did our father Abraham have a baby with a Gentile woman, even an Egyptian? Whom Hagar, the Egyptian, Sarah's handmaid, because that has to be stated. It has to be stated that this wasn't just something that Abraham went and picked out. No, Sarah said, here's the plan. She's going to have a baby for me. Knock the boots. Give me the baby. We're going to be good. It didn't turn out like that. It turns out that Sarah ended up crashing out and just beating the brakes off of Hagar pretty much. So go and read the history. Sarah didn't play no games. Hagar got disrespectful, continually. And this is a black mama. Sarah's a black mama. She is the grandma of grandmas. And she beat the brakes off of Hagar and kicked Hagar and her little Ishmaelite son out. Genesis chapter 25, verse 12. Now these are the generations of Ishmael, Abraham's son, whom Hagar, the Egyptian, Sarah's handmaid, bare unto Abraham. And these are the names of the sons of Ishmael by their names, according to the generations of the firstborn of Ishmael, Naboth, Nabojoth, Kedar, Abdil, Mizbim. Don't that sound like Arab names? Mizbim, Kedar, Abdil. See? It's Ishmael. And Misma, and Duma, and Masa, and Hadar, Tamar, Jetur, Nephish, Kedma. These are the sons of Ishmael by their names, and look at this, by their towns, and by their castles, and by their 12 tribes, according to their nations. The problem with what I just did is that the Bible says, thou shalt not add to nor take away from. So if anyone ever tells you that there were 12 tribes of Ishmael, no, there's 12 princes. You know, like the prince of Egypt. Wait a minute. What about the prince of Persia? Wait a minute. What about Aladdin? Wait a minute. What about, see, throughout the Arabic culture, they've had a history of being called sultans and princes. And the Most High called them here first. He says, by their towns, by their castles. If you want to find out, somebody told me that Esau was the Arabs. I straight disagreed. Not to say that Esau didn't intermingle with the Arabs, because they said, you know how it's the, you know, we know it's the Arabs. They said it's Esau-di Arabia. I said, you mean Esau-di Arabia? They said, yeah, Esau, the Arabia. It say it right there in the name, brother. I said, not East Saudi Arabia. They said, no, it's not East Saudi Arabia. See, brother, what the white man tried to do is run all the words together. It's not East Saudi Arabia. It's East Saudi Arabia. And that's how you know it's really East. I said, stop it, son. I said, stop it. You're going to hurt yourself. Put that book down before you give yourself a concussion. Stop it before you give yourself a black eye with that Bible. The Most High said in Genesis chapter 25, verse 16, these are the sons of Ishmael, and these are their names by their what? Go and look up the towns. Go and look up the castles. Here's the princes according to their nations. And these are the years of Ishmael, 137 years. And he gave up the ghost and died, and was gathered unto his people. And they dwelt from Havilah unto Shur, that is before Egypt, as thou goest toward Assyria. And he died in the presence of all his brethren. Genesis chapter 25, verse 19. These are the generations of Yatzizak. Abraham, Yatzizak, yeah. These are the generations, the genios. All right, the sperm, see, of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begot Isaac. Now, real quick, I am not very good at just omitting information. I'm so sorry. Like, if I know something, I have to say it. If you see something, say something. It's kind of like this thing that's embedded in me. I apologize about that. Blame it on my ADD. I ain't mad about it. These are the generations. Tawaladath. 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 It's not hard. Once you see it, it's easy. Here go the word Yalad. Tawaladath is from the root word Yalad. Now, some of you today might even have some yalads. You might have some yalads on your legs. You might have a yalad just laying around your house. You might have a yalad on top of your TV, a yalad next to your spouse. You might have a yalad in your refrigerator. One of your yaladim might be a young hater. It's yaladim are everywhere. It's just the children of Israel give birth to yaladim. The word generations, it means descendants, results, proceedings, generations, genealogies, account of men and their descendants, genealogical list of one's descendants, one's contemporaries, course of history, of creation, etc., begetting, and account of heaven. Isn't that wonderful? That even right here in Barashath, in beginnings, you can find the beginnings of a nation of a man, right? Let's do that again. Matthew chapter 1, KJV, Blue Letter Bible. This little Dell laptop slaptastic. This mug works great. All right. So we should be over here in the book of Matatawa. All right. Matthew chapter Chad, chapter 1. Let's look at this real quick. We see the same thing. We say the book of the generation of the Hawashai, Mashiach. The book of the generation of Jesus Christ. Yahushai Mashiach, who the world so ignorantly and sometimes accidentally calls Jesus. The word genealogy right here, all right,
Strong's
here's
G
the word. Greek
1078.
lexicon.
Genesis.
All right.
Genesis.
Genesis. Beautiful. Genesis. Let's see. Generation, natural nature, source, origin. The book of one's lineage, i.e., his ancestry, progeny, all right? Progeny are enumerated, all right? So the children that are accounted from. Use of birth, nativity of that which follows origin, all right? So you will be the origin and everything else that follows you, all right? The existence of life, the will of life, etc. Point of saying such as to say, our father Jacob is the former of all things. We're going to read about him in that. We can go from Genesis to Matthew and see bloodline and genealogy of the children of Israel, of Christ, of even yourself. And the genealogy, the bloodline pattern going from father to father to father and giving reverence to the birthing through the mothers. Matthew chapter 1, verse 1, all the way down. Let's go down to about 14. All right, 17. Matthew chapter 1, verse 1 to verse 17. And it literally tells us, so all the generations of what? Of Abraham. Is that not what we read? Are we not reading the generations of Abraham? I believe we are. So all the generations of Abraham to David are 14 generations, from David to the carrying away into Babylon, 14 generations, into Babylon to the carrying away, and from Babylon, the carrying away into Babylon unto Christ are 14 Bada Ashiatian in beginnings. 14 generations, 14 genealogies. So as we go through, here's your word. All right. Here's your word. Ya, la, da. Yalad. 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 This is the word for children. Here's your word like Bariaf. Da, wa, la, da, wa. All right. Fa. Repeat after me. Fa, wa, lad. Fa is the yalad instead of wa. Fa, walad. Walath. All right. Delath. All right. So repeat after me and then fumble it. That's funny. All right. So generations, genealogy. If anybody ever says, "Oh, that got lost, that got muddled, that got mixed up," no, it didn't. No, it didn't. We wrote everything down. Not only did we write everything down during the time frames where it did not get written down, we just go by the genealogy of our fathers. So it's a pretty beautiful concept. Know who you are. Believe what the Most High showed you are. Honor, love, and forgive your parents too. All right, because they had to go through their own things. Genesis chapter 25, verse 20. And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife. And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padaram, the sister of Laban, the Syrian. A lot of times, a lot of Yasharim, especially people who call themselves Hebrew Israelites, don't know this. Your nationality is that you're a Syrian. All right. And one of our prayers is that my father, a Syrian, ready to perish. My father was a Syrian, ready to perish. This is a prayer that we say on the first fruits, because that's what our nationality is. Don't forget, let's go backwards. You know, Uncle Laban, remember Laban was a Syrian. All right. I don't have a clingy connection to the phrase Hebrew Israelite. I don't. All right. The sister, all right. Padaran, Syrian, Bethuel, the wife, Rebecca took. He, when the old years, 40, was Isaac and. Okay. So the interesting part about that, if Isaac was 40 when he took Rebecca to wife, why does it only mention his age? Why? How old was Rebecca? Can anybody tell me how old was Rebecca? when Isaac took her to wife. I'm gonna come back to that because I got something I want to show y'all, a verse I want to show you. But it's so many different things. I feel like I should just do it right now. Like, let me see. Yeah, let's get this real quick. I want to show y'all something. This is a very interesting point. And we don't have very long, but I think we have enough time. All right, Genesis chapter 25. Um, no, we got to go back. We got to go back to Exodus. All right, we got to go back to Exodus. All right. So the Genesis chapter 22, binding of Isaac. Genesis chapter 22. Let's see. Let's see. Genesis chapter 22, KJV, Blue Letter Bible. All right. Genesis chapter 22, KJV. Nope, give me that Blue Letter Bible. Genesis chapter 22, KJV, Blue Letter Bible. All right. Share this page real quick. And it came to pass, but don't forget where we are, everybody. I'm going to come back to that. Okay. Concerning the flood. All right. Now watch this. Let's go through a couple things. All right. Brother country. He lifted up his eyes, took the holy, and called the thing, ring the thorn, and called Abraham the second time. Okay. What's that blessing to see the nation? I'm sorry. All right, so check this out, everybody. So this is the book of Genesis, chapter 22, right? So this is when Isaac was about to be sacrificed. Now keep that in mind real quick. We're going to go to, let's see. All right, one more screen. Okay. All right. Now we have our handy dandy Flavius Josephus. All right, so the Hebrews under this construction and the famine of Egypt. We're going to look up the sacrifice of Isaac concerning the flood, how every nation was divided, Abimelech, concerning Isaac, the legitimate son of Abraham. Now, Isaac was such a generous disposition that he counted his son just folly and pleasant to discourse, but he was not to be born first. All right. I want to show you all something. Watch this. Let's get this real quick. Flavius Josephus, Antiquities of the Jews, book number 1, chapter 13. All right. That is not what I said. That's not what I said. All right. Maybe I was mumbling when I said it. I apologize. Let's do Flavius Josephus. Flavius Josephus. Flavius Josephus. That's Uncle. Oh, wait, Uncle Joe. Uncle Flavius Josephus. He go hard. Now that's died. That's Uncle right there. All right. So in book 1, and we're going to go down to chapter 13. Now watch this, because I believe this will be a joy to you. Okay. Book 1, chapter 13. Concerning Isaac, the legitimate son of Abraham. Now watch this. Now Abraham greatly loved Isaac as being his only begotten, and had given him the borders and given to him at the borders of old age by the favor of God. The child also endeared himself to his parents still more by the exercise of every virtue. Y'all see what that means? This means that he was a good kid, like exercise of every virtue. Like they just genuinely loved him, right? And adhering to his duty to his parents. See, that feels good when parents and children have good relationships. Like when your children be like, yeah, I love my Abba, I love my Amma. That feels good, right? And being zealous, right? Isaac was quick in the worship of the Most High. Like when the children do their praise music, they be all happy, So Isaac was zealous in the worship of the Most High. Abraham also placed his own happiness wholly in the prospect that when he should die, he should leave this his son in his safe, secure condition, which accordingly he obtained by the will of Yahweh, who, being desirous to make an experiment of Abraham's religious disposition toward himself, appeared to him and enumerated all the blessings he would bestow on him, how he had made him superior to his enemies, and that his son Isaac, who was the principal part of his present happiness, was derived from him. And he said that he required this, his son, as a sacrifice, as a holy oblation. Stay with us. Accordingly, he commanded him to carry him to the mountain Moriah or Morah or Mount Bitterness or the Mount to Weep, right? And to build an altar and to offer him for a burnt offering upon it, that this would be best manifest his religious disposition towards him. And he preferred that, and if he preferred that what was pleased to God before the preservation of his own soul. Excuse me, that he preferred what was pleasing to the Most High before the preservation of his own soul. Now, Abraham thought it was not right to disobey Yahweh in anything, but that he was obliged to serve him in every circumstance of life, since all creatures that live enjoy the life by his providence and the kindness he bestows on them. Accordingly, he concealed this command of Yahweh and his own intentions about the slaughter of his son from his own wife, as also from every one of his servants. Otherwise, he should have been hindered from his obedience to Yahweh. And he took Isaac together with his two servants, laying which things were necessary for a sacrifice upon an ass. Now, let me say this real quick. When it says his two servants, it's talking about his son Ishmael and his servant Eleazar. So Eleazar, his most faithful, trusted servant, was the one that was accompanying him. And his other servant was his firstborn son, Ishmael. So you got Ishmael, Abraham, Isaac, Eleazar. That's four walking together. But when we read it, it just says his two servants. But when you do some deep research, you find out, oh, that was Eleazar. Well, that makes sense why it was Eleazar. You don't find too many men recorded and numbered kicking it with Abraham. You find Lot, his nephew, and Abraham came up with a plan on how to split from him. He was like, look, I got an idea. You go this way, I go that way. What you say, nephew? And I still love you. But Abraham was always with, Eliezer was always with Abraham. So he had his oldest son. So these were his two servants, right? So let's get back to this. All right. Feels good. Amen. TORAH. 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 Hallelujah. TORAH. All right. TORAH. All right. He did what? So he should have been hindered from his obedience to Yahweh. He took Isaac together with two servants of his, and laying what things were necessary for a sacrifice upon an ass, he went away to the mountain. Now the two servants went along with him 2 days, but on the third day, as soon as he saw the mountain, he left those two servants that were with him till then in the plain. And having his son alone with him, he came to the mountain. It was that mountain. Watch this, everybody. Everybody ready? You may not have known this, and this is pretty cool. The same place where our father Isaac was about to be sacrificed. Watch this. It was that mountain which King David afterwards built the temple. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that so cool? So the same place where our father Yatazak was going to be sacrificed by the Most High, the place of faith, was the same place that Malak Dawad built the temple that he made, right? All praise Yahweh. Now, all of this goes together. We'll see. Now, they had brought with them everything necessary for a sacrifice, excepting the animal that had been offered only. Now, Isaac, here's the point. Here's the point, everybody. Are you ready for this? Here's the real kicker in your Hebrew Israelite doctrine, which your elder didn't tell you. I'm really not disappointed. It's just that, saying they just, whatever. Here's the real kicker. It's time to grow up and learn some things. Now, Isaac was 25 years old. and he was building the altar. Isaac was 25 years old, everybody. When you go and watch these movies, and I can pull one up on YouTube right now, you got this little weird snot-nosed kid, you know what I'm saying? No disrespect, because right now my baby's got snot noses, you know what I'm saying? Salute to all the little snot-nosed karate out there, you know, family. All little Hebrew Israelite baby kids in the house of karate. I love you all. You know what I'm saying? Right now I got two little snot noses. Right. So no disrespect to snot noses. But on these TV shows, they have our father Isaac looking like he was just a oblivious, unaware, scared little kid. No, father, father, don't stab me, father, 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 I love you, father. Don't kill me for the Lord. Don't kill me, Lord, for my father. That's what they have him looking like on the TV shows. But when you read this, we find out one, he was a man. Not only was he a man with a beard, Abba, I noticed we're doing a sacrifice. We're getting everything together, but we ain't got no animal. That's a man. That's a man. Watch this. So keep that in mind. You've read this historically, you've heard it here. Isaac was 25 years old. And as he was building the altar, he asked his father, what about the offer? Since there was no animal for the oblation. To which it was answered, Yahweh will provide himself an oblation. Now, real quick, because this week's Torah portion is still about Abraham. We're still learning about Abraham. We're learning about Isaac. I want to teach you about the character of Isaac too. About how old Isaac was and how old he was when he married Rebecca. He was already 25 now. Everybody, I'm going to let you know, Rebecca wasn't born. Rebecca wasn't born. So the older, younger ratio, age ain't nothing but a number. You know what I'm saying? I ain't going to say the rest of the words of that song because that ain't right. Isaac was 25 years old. Rebecca wasn't born yet. Keep that in mind. Let's look at Isaac's strength. Because if we pull a movie, a YouTube clip, let's just do one. We got a little bit of time. We got a little bit of time before we have to move to the next thing. All right. So let's do this. We're gonna do a screen share instead. All right, let's do Isaac's sacrifice. I just want to say if we can get a movie scene real quick. Got all the lot. Look at that. Look, you see this? This is the problem. This is the problem. All right. First of all, obvious. Second of all, they have this child here. They can never tell the truth. This is iconoclasm. This is something that just discouraged me to my core because it makes me want to just be like, yo, man, this is just, when will they ever stop lying? Look at this, the test. Now, here's the one that I wanted to see. Okay, well, we got a little bit of time. I don't own the rights to this. YouTube, don't be hating. Don't snatch my page. I don't want any money. I ain't even monetized. I don't think so. Y'all know if I am. Whatever. All right. I don't want no smoke. Oh, I'm on the library computer. It won't play it. That's so sad. That sucks. But what we can do is we can copy it. We can paste it. And for another day, we can come back and watch it. So I'll share this with the page. If you all get a chance, come back and watch that. All right. All right. And there you have that. So go back and watch that when you get a chance. All right. So the point of saying such is to say with these images, you have the false, the falsities. I'll just say it like that. You have the falsities. First of all, he wasn't a young white man. Second of all, he wasn't a young man at all. Third of all, he wasn't white at all. That's another thing. So, even if you gotta do actors and all that other stuff, okay, well, get some accurate actors. So you got the Book of Clarence. The Book of Clarence is phenomenal. Okay. But the main thing was to show that these are the images of what we see whenever we pull up, Isaac and, him about to be sacrificed. This is not a 24-year, 25-year-old man. It's not a 25-year-old man. That's not a 25-year-old man. That's not, and this is what I really hate because you got all the clickbait, you got all the art. Look at that. What, 132,000 views just for them to lie to you. Ridiculous, man. Let's get back to this real quick. So look at the dispensation of Isaac. All right, we're still in the book of Genesis, chapter 25. We haven't made out the first chapter. I just love teaching. Let's get it. All right. Genesis chapter 25. We're going to precept this with Flavor Josephus, Antiquity to the Jews, when book number 1, chapter 13. Now Isaac was of such a generous disposition as became the son of such a father, and was pleased with this discourse. So after his father said, I love you, and I have to sacrifice you back up to the Most High, Isaac was in agreement with it. Look at this. And that was not only worthy to be actually. No worries. I have a 1:30 in another room. So if you're in here, I'm actually coming in and going out. So you're right on time. You're right on time. Oh, okay. Okay, I can be here at 2:00. So no, and he don't get it like. No. Oh, you're in here at 2? You're in here at 2? All praise. I'll leave at 1:30 and go to the next one. All praise. Hallelujah. All praise. All praise. Thank you, King. Appreciate it. Now, Isaac was of such a generous disposition, all right, as became the son of such a father, and was pleased with this discourse, and was said that he was not worthy to be born at the first. He should reject the determination of the Most High and of his father, and should not resign himself up readily to both their pleasures. So what is Isaac saying? He's saying, look, if I'm not ready to give myself over for my father's will, which is Abraham, if I'm not willing to give myself over for the Most High's will, which is the Heavenly Father, he said it's not pleasurable. So Isaac was 25 years old. This is what we see historically, right? So since it would have been unjust if he had not obeyed, even if his father alone had so resolved. So Isaac is a grown adult man with a beard. It's not an image of what we've seen, you know what I'm saying? And, salute to all of our, creamy colored, lighter hued, friends and families. But we know the truth is the truth. Can't be a lie. Not only was Abraham, not only was Isaac, not only was Jacob of the African, Negro, Hebrew descent, straight black, melanated with all of that stuff, but the son wasn't a child. So as one part gets broken down, we find another part getting built up. So now we look at Isaac from the mentality of a young man instead of a young child thinking his father's just about to brutally slaughter him. The narrative here, which is written historically, is that Isaac did what? That Isaac submitted himself. All right. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to submit myself. Okay. I'm going to wind it down. This beautiful reserved location is being shared, by the community. This is my time to yield the floor. All right, there's another brother that's gonna come up. Brother, bigger, more dynamic teacher than me is gonna come in next. Okay. So let's wind this down, and then we're gonna solve this, and then we'll go to the next area. All right. So what does he says? He says, since it would have been unjust if he had not obeyed. It would have been wrong if he had not obeyed. He says what? Even if his father alone, even if he says, look, okay, the Most High didn't say so, but even if it was just you, I still would be down with you. So he went immediately to the altar to be sacrificed. And the deed had been done if if the Most High had not stopped it. For he called loudly unto Abraham by his name and forbade him to say that, and said, son, it was not a desire of human blood that I command you to slay this your son, nor is he willing that he should be taken away from him, who he had made the love of his father. But he would try to temper of his mind whether he would be obedient to such a command, since therefore he now was sanctified as this in all of his alacrity. You know what that means? It says the Most High was satisfied with the point that you just going to do right. You just got the mentality of doing right. The Most High is happy. Hey, you know what? Dang, that was a cold question I asked you. You was really going to jump? Are you a rider for real? Oh, you was really going to do it? Are you a rider for real? You was willing to throw yourself downstairs for me, knowing I would be there to catch you? You a rider for real. And surprisingly, the readiness he showed in his piety, right? He was delighted in having bestowed such a blessing on him that he would not be wanting of all things to concern about him, and in bestowing him with other children upon him. And this son should live at a very great age, and he should live a very long and happy life, and bequeath a large principality to his children, who should be good and legitimate. You see all these blessings that he gave to a 25-year-old man and his 90-year-old father just for being obedient. This is our father Abraham and Isaac, right? Boom, time's winding down. We'll get up out of here. All right, now watch this. Watch this. So Abraham and Isaac received each other unexpectedly, having ordained the promises of such a great blessing and grace to one another. When they had readily sacrificed, they had returned to Sarah happily together, God affording them his assistance in all things he desired. Now, here's our point at the end. They returned to Sarah and lived happily together. Now, according to the book of Joshua, Sarah died. That's the issue. We're gonna come back to this. All right. Now, I'm gonna yield because this room has to get up to another family. But we're not done at all. All right, we got so much more to go because there's more I want to say. So check this. So in the book of Joshua, which I like, I do support. I tell people read the book of Joshua so you can see for yourself. You know, precept it with the Bible. You know, find out what did the Most High say. You know, this book, and then find out what did he say. Like, well, see the comparative, and then find out does it find out. You're gonna find out that the book of Joshua is just like weird, and then some stuff that's in the book of Joshua is hauntingly accurate. It's like how did they get to that? So last couple of verses, we'll come back to that, and I think that's it. We'll finish up real quick, and then we'll get it over to Sister Maria. Now, Isaac was 25. Let's go back to the Torah portion. Gotta give us time to pack up and get out of here and let her minister. Genesis 25, verse 20. And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife. So 25 years later, hey, when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel of Syria, of Padaram, the sister of Laban the Syrian, and Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife because she was barren, and Yahweh was entreated of him. And Rebekah, his wife, conceived, and the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of Yahweh, and Yahweh said unto her, two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separate from thy bowels, and the one shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. And when the days were delivered to be fulfilled, behold, there were twins in the womb, and the first came out red all over like a hairy garment. They called his name Esau, 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 Esau. Verse 26. And the other came out, and then after that came out his brother, and he took the hold of his heel, and his name was called Yaquab, Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when he bare them. He was 60 years old, still popping. That's crazy, right? Is it so crazy to think that 60-year-olds? Right. All right. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat. We got that. And he did eat. Right? So we're going to pause. Sister Maria, I'm going to press mute on my end, and then we'll come back with the rest of the Torah portion and read. All right, I yield the floor. Shalom, worlds. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Doing it's a history of Abraham and Sarah and Isaac. I think that Brother Isaiah had brought up. It was very interesting. I learned some things from that as well. I know it's awesome too. Children, we ask that you would pay attention during our Torah portion and any lesson that we're having. And sisters, we ask that you would allow the children to be disciplined and listen as well. We're going to gain some knowledge. Remember to have your pens, your paper, your highlighters, and your Bibles. Please note, this is the day that Yahweh has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. So, Yahweh, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. We sing the praises to our King, for He is the King of Kings. We sing the praises to our King, for He is the King. We sing the praises to our King, for He is the King of Kings. We sing the praises to our King, for He is the King. Give Him glory, 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 for He is the King of Kings. We sing the praises to our King, for He is the King of Kings. We sing the praises to our King, for He is the King. We sing the praises to our King, for He is the King of Kings. We sing the praises to our King, for He is the King. Give Him praise, for He is the King. Give Him praise, for He is the King of Kings.
Chinese, was it? Is it okay going?
We left the spots that I really would use.
Yeah.
I just think keys are like a binary card or something. We're back.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Worthy, worthy, worthy. I give Him praise. I give Him honor and glory. Yeah, He woke us up this morning to another Saturday morning, and we are grateful to be here. He's only our robbery. I'm so grateful.
No. No. You so much.
There's a card.
Oh, is there HDMI keys for this?
Is there what?
HDMI keys for this?
Yes. Do you want one?
Yes.
Gotcha.
And all praise the Most High. What? That was like,
Yes, rejoice and be glad, be glad in it. This is the day, this is the day that your heart was made. I will enter His gates in my heart. I will enter I will do His great
I will rejoice for He has made me glad. You're awesome. Thank you so much.
No problem.
The day that your heart has made, I will be yours. Hey, 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 how are you? Oh, yeah.
Everyone and enjoy this thing. But the one put it in time for weekend. Because we're on the side, that's how we're weekend. Be and all the hour of it, if you want to be, during the week, you have to work, or we have to take the children to school. But something is going on. It's a busy, busy week for a lot of us. But we know if when Sabbath day comes, we can just slow down, we can focus on Yahweh, and we can do what it is that His will us to do. Remember the Sabbath day, keep it holy. So we're going to keep this thing holy, and we're going to do what it is that keep the law, the statutes, and the commandments. We want to do that. We want to always do that. We want to always be obedient to what it is that God has told us to do. Okay, guys, yeah, if you're ready, I yield the floor.
Man, Frank, I wish you want to look you are the color. Man, I'm glad you just are such a blessing, man. It truly need to be heard, man. It is a true difference the whenever the women minister, man. Y'all just bring so much light and salt to the to the word. Thank you so much, sister. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Well, for those of you that's watching now, or that's watching later, please contact Sister Maria, be involved with that women's ministry. There's always a avenue that the Most High can give us, somebody we can relate to. So there's definitely a sister that I believe is, been operating the ministry beautifully, sternly for the Most High, and also helping other women. So Baba Kushai, please reach out to the sister, be a part of the ministry. All right. And again, TORAH Exodus. All right. So I think we're going to make it through this. Hallelujah. Okay, let's do it. All right. So, okay. I got to shake it off. Okay. All right. So we're back up. We're on live and we're going to get to the reading. And if we have anybody that is in our officers or our official class or our group that would like to participate, I'm also going to do this. I'm screen sharing, but I'm going to share the link for the video. All right. And sometimes it's hard to get people to do what they're supposed to do. Like, we all have our different things, our hangups. And when it comes to the Shabbat, it's a rest day. Nobody's obligated to, to do the exact same thing. Nobody's obligated to do the exact same thing. But what we want to do is we want to invite people to do something that's been common, something that's been known in common amongst us many generations, which is the reading of the word of the Most High, the prophets, and the gospel for edification of us and our children forever. Super helpful. All right. All right. So if you want, I want to tap into our official classroom and be like, yo, where's everybody at? Y'all be talking about class, but then when it's time, yibbity dibbity do. But all right, so hey, Shalom. Don't be Shabbat Shalom and me, Mosh Makab, you not in class. You not in class. Class, no, Shabbat Shalom and me. Shabbat Shalom, and then walk past class. I know some of y'all was like that. Some of y'all was really like that. Go to school and just walk past the classroom. Y'all wouldn't even just go in. Y'all would just stand at the classroom door. That's crazy. I used to be in class looking at y'all like, man, that's crazy. I ain't even gonna come in here, huh? That's crazy. So don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at nobody else when the time comes up and you don't got the answers to the test. You ain't gonna be able to look at nobody crazy. You ain't gonna be able to say, but I knew him, I knew her. Nah, it's gonna be on you. You're gonna fail the test because when it came time, you wasn't studying. All right. Which we all know. Study to show yourself approved. Or not, you could come and participate and edify much. All right. Either way it goes, let's get it. Let's build. Okay. So this week's Torah portion, back to it. We got a screen up. Reading Barashiath, Genesis chapter Soaring. We're still at 25. We are at 25. Wow, we're still at 25. Genesis chapter 25. Let's go back a chapter. All right. Oh, no, we got to do 22. Okay, we got to do 22 first. Okay, so Genesis chapter 22. Now watch this thing. Watch this thing. Watch this thing. All right. Bless thee, multiplying seed upon the stars of heaven, and see the nations be blessed. Thy voice, Nahor. Okay, now watch this. Watch this. Now, y'all ready for this? Now, this is the Bible. This is Genesis chapter 22. All right, Genesis chapter 22. Now, this is verse 15. So we read it from Flavius Josephus, Antiquities of the Jews. All right, and this is where we were at when we read and we seen that our father, Isaac, was how old was he? How old was he? Somebody typed the number. How old was he in this room? How old was he? Tell somebody else. He was 25. 25, right? Now I want y'all to see this. All right. I thought myself happier than to see thee grown up to man's estate. You see that? So hold on. I hope you're still watching on the screen. Here go another one. You see this? Now Isaac was 25 years old. His father Abraham said, I was happier than to see thee grown to a man's estate. Shalom. Did we say something on the card? I missed that. I'm sorry. Did we say something on the call? Okay. All right. No call. Okay, that's fine. All right. So what does that mean? What does that mean? Well, let's go to the Bible and see. Let's go to Genesis chapter 22. And look at this. So Abram returned with what? So Abram returned with what? Look, it's right here. With his young men, and they rose and did what? And went together to Beersheba. And what? What happened? And Abraham dwelt at Beersheba. And it did what? It came to pass that after these things, after what things? After the almost sacrifice of his son Isaac. It came to pass after these things that it was told Abraham, saying, Behold, Milcah, she is also born children unto thy brother Nahor. Well, congratulations. I was just about to sacrifice my son to the Lord. And it turns out that my brother, he done gave birth to having children. Wow. So on the day that my son, at the age of 25, was about to die and be sacrificed, you would tell me there were some children that was born? Huz is firstborn. Buz, the brother of Kemuel, the father of Aram, and Ches, and Hazo, Fildash, Jilpha, and Bethuel. Bethuel begot Rebekah. Did you all see that? This was the birth of Rebekah. Genesis chapter 22, the birth of Rebekah. She was born 25 years after Isaac. These 8 Milcah did bear to Nahor, Abraham's brother, and his concubine, whose name was Remuah, she bare also Teba and Geham and Tahash and Ma'ach. You see that? That's a significant difference. And this hasn't been taught, but it needs to be taught. It must needs be spoken on. Because there's a wealth of information that we're not getting, because it seems like there's some unbiased blockage of people just not wanting to say what the scripture says. So I don't have a problem with that. So the next time it comes up, somebody should be able to use that verse and be like, well, hey, things aren't always what they seem in the Bible, especially pertaining to the subject matter of marriage. Somebody might say, well, hey, that's back then. Okay, I'll let them deal with that. Okay. So let's get back to this. So that was pretty interesting. So we're at Genesis chapter. We are sharing on our screen share. Boom, screen share. We are sharing. All right. So let's get it. All right. So we're back on our screen share. We are on Hasapad, Genesis chapter 25. All right. Genesis chapter 25 and the descendants of Ishmael. Now we are at the descendants of Isaac. And like our friend that we was talking to, I don't know if you all seen that video earlier, but I was talking to an Edomite man earlier, and he was a school teacher, and he was teaching about languages, and we just had a great time, you know. But he talked about the Shemitic languages. So let's look at a few of these. Okay. And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Isaac begot. Abraham begot Isaac, and Isaac was what? 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife. Does everybody get that now? Does everybody see that? The daughter of Bethuel, Syrian, Padan, the sister of Laban, the Syrian. And Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife because she was barren. And Yahweh was entreated of him. And Rebekah, his wife, conceived. Now, let me let you all know, you can entreat Yahweh to this day through prayer and through fasting. If you have something going on and you really, really want to resolve, I encourage you to entreat the Most High. Okay. Because you can do it. You can entreat the Lord through prayer and fasting. Now, there was a man whose name was Balaam, and Balaam knew how to entreat the Lord. Balaam, even a Gentile man, knew how to call down Yahweh's power, Yahweh's spirit, Yahweh's providence, right? So it's not a new thing, okay? So entreat the Most High for your issues or for your concerns. You know, this isn't something that's just biblical then. You know, this is something that you can do now. Call out to the Most High. All right. And Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife because she was barren, and Yahweh was entreated of him. And Rebekah, his wife, conceived, and the children struggled together within her. So we already know this. This is an older woman, not a younger woman. She hasn't had men in her life. She had one man. There was one key that opened up her door. And from that one door, she produced two separate children. Now, Yasharallah knows the story of Jacob and Esau. Yasharallah knows the story of the children struggling together within her. And I think everybody, I think the world, we know this, you know. But just for a breach of a second, I would like to speak on it. The Most High purposely made this prophetic, that there would be two nations that would constantly be at odds. And it started from within the womb. Now, womb. Now, it doesn't mean that everybody from these two nations are at odds. It just means that there's a kindred animosity between these two. One of these brothers has a perpetual hatred against the other brother. And I'm here to tell you that's the white race. The European Caucasian nationality has had a perpetual hatred against their twin brother. And there are certain select ones from that nationality who says, that's not me, that's wrong, I'm not down with that, you know. And then there's certain ones who just totally ride the horse all the way into town on their white privilege. There's some who do. These two nations were put together and separated in the womb of one black woman, Rebecca. Color does matter, nationality matter, ethnicity matters, because if we knew what our color was from the biblical days, from adulthood, then that would change how we treat and how we teach not only our children, but how we develop our children, how our children would look at us. It changes everything if you know that your children are the children of the Bible. It's totally different, even if you don't want to say it. If you don't want to say that you're a descendant of the Hebrews of the Bible, then that's your own discretion. But if you accept it, then that's very empowering. Very empowering. And to all of our friends and families from other nationalities, even the Gentile nations, we recognize that these Gentile nations are also in the Bible too, and that they have a place, they have a purpose in the book of Amos and in other prophecies. I believe Jeremiah 16, they're mentioned. And every nationality has always been set for the service of the Most High. One vessel he glorifies, one vessel he makes as a toilet, one vessel he makes as a beautiful vase, and another vessel he makes literally just to be a shooting pigeon clay, just to be broken. It's a nice looking clay pigeon, but it's meant to be broken. That vase is a nice vase. That's not meant to be put in the bathroom. So the Most High made a purpose for each and every nation. And when he made the purpose for Esau and for Jacob, it was to bring the division and the deciding of times and the rulership of the next world. Just that easy. Just that easy. Either you're on the side of the Most High and you want things to be corrected, or you're on the side of the world and you want things to stay the same. Genesis chapter 25, verse 22. And the children struggled within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of Yahweh, and Yahweh said unto her, two nations are in thy womb, and two very specific word here is manner of people. Let's look at the word manner. I've never done this for a Hebrew breakdown. I usually like to look up stuff and be like, oh, what's that word mean? I've never looked up the word two manner of people. We know nations, right? The nations, it says Gaudium. See, like the other day, earlier, I was talking to the dude, and I said, I believe you're a Gentile, He was shaking his head. He's like, no, 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 no. Because he didn't want to not be called Jewish. But I told him, you are a Gentile. To me, you're a Gentile because you're of a different nation. He was like, oh, yeah, oh, yeah, I bet, oh, yeah, buddy. The Most High said right here, see, even right here, Yasharal is called Goy, God, because we are strangers to them, we're strangers to us. It's a yin yang symbol. Unto her to God, yum. So if anybody ever asks, Israel was called Gentile too. Right? Sometimes we take too much on ourselves. Two Gaudium, two nations, two heathens, two Gentiles, two people, nation people, usually of non-Hebrew people, of descendants of Abram, of Israel, a swarm of locusts, other animals, Goyim, nations. Right? So let me put this chart back on here. So I want to go to the word manner. Right? So we got Goyim and two different manner of people. Okay. Let me see what that is. All right. One after this manner, one after that manner. All right. What's that? Elder, serve, younger. I love that. Gentile salvation right there in this week's Torah portion is ridiculous. And, if I think, I'm so grateful that the Most High put me in a library. All right. It says Alium, but that says Alium. It don't say manner of people. It says Alium. I don't know what the word manner. If the Most High would have put me in a place where I was able to be loud, it would be over with. Gentile salvation, because I'm pro Gen Save. I'm pro Gen Save all day. It makes no sense for me for Israelites to be not teaching Gentile salvation. And salute to those who are just recently coming into the knowledge of, the difference between heathens and goyim, because we're goyim, but we're not heathens. Salute to all those that's coming into the knowledge of understanding that the Most High made different people to different purposes for salvation. All right, arach. We have the word arach. All right, arach is for the word manner, right? Arach, it means the way, the path, all right, a highway. Okay, I'm gonna say that arach, arach, wayfaring man, manner, race, arach, ranks, arach, traveler, arach, troops. So this is the word for manner, all right, for a way of people, a path of people, road of people, passing of life of people. Man, she was told she was going to be a river, a race of ranks of people, a highway of people. All right, I'm going to come from you. That's powerful. I never looked up the word adach, right, for manner. All right, Genesis chapter 25. Let's go back to our verse. Baba Kusha, for everybody being patient. Please enjoy your Shabbat. We will be here all day. Not saying just at this location all day. We will be here teaching all day. Genesis chapter 25, verse 24. And when her days were delivered to be fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment. And they called his name Esau. And after that, there came out his brother and took hold of Esau's heel. And his name was called Jacob, and Isaac was 80 old when she bare them, and the boys grew. And Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison. But Rebekah loved Yaakov, Jacob. And Jacob sowed pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said unto Yaakov, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore his name is called Edom. Hold that point. We're going to read that about 1,100 times. Let's switch to the screen instead. We're going to pull up this window. We're going to go to this DORE of Seville, Isidore of Seville. All right, but we're not just going to go there. We're going to go to Edom. All right, we're going to go to Isidore of Seville's etymology and his breakdown of Edom. Okay, I would like to go straight to the page, but let's do it for the sake of time. All right, for the sake of time, it says definition and context. Isidore's etymological approach often derived from Jerome Augustine. That's really good to know. Etymology covers geography. I just want to go to the book. All right, let's just go to the book. Never mind. I can't stand reading what they say, especially once you read it. Like once you see it, you know where it's at. It's like, oh yeah. All right. But it's good to have a aid. It's good to have an aid. So if you're watching online, we are in a book. This book is called, as you can see the title here, it's called The Etymologies of Isidore Seville. All right, and we're going to scroll down to this section right here, and I want everybody to see this. This section is there we go. Historical background, chronology. I encourage everybody get that chronology book. That chronology book is wonderful. All right, Isidore and etymology. This is what's called the table of contents. For those of you who may have seen these when you were younger, but never really picked one up. It's